The narrative of Abel and Cain is one of the most well-known and intriguing stories in the Bible. It can be found in the book of Genesis, specifically in Genesis 4 verses 1 and 8. Adam and Eve, the first human beings, had two sons, Cain, the elder, who became a farmer, and Abel, the younger, who became a shepherd. At a certain point, both of them decided to offer sacrifices to God. Abel offered the fatty portions of the firstborn of his flock, while Cain offered fruits of the land. God accepted Abel's sacrifice but not Cain's. This caused Cain to become furious and eventually kill his brother Abel. However, this biblical account is not merely a story of jealousy and fratricide. It's a story that teaches us about faith, justice, and the consequences of our actions. The Apostle John, in his first epistle, 1 John 3 verses 11 and 12, emphasizes that Abel is an example of someone who lived a righteous life, and his death was a result of his righteousness, while Cain's death was a result of his wickedness. Furthermore, the author of the Epistle to the Hebrews, in chapter 11, includes Abel in the list of heroes of faith, highlighting that he offered a sacrifice of faith, which was accepted by God because of his faith. This is an important point, as it indicates that it wasn't just the type of sacrifice Abel offered that was accepted by God, but the faith with which he offered it. Therefore, we can learn several lessons from Abel's story. First, the importance of faith in our actions. It's not only what we do that matters, but the attitude with which we do it. Second, the importance of living a righteous life. Abel is praised by John and the author of Hebrews for his righteousness. Third, the consequences of our actions. Cain suffered the consequences of his act of murdering his brother, just as Abel suffered the consequences of living a righteous life. In summary, Abel's story, though tragic, is a powerful example of faith, justice, and the consequences of our actions. He is undoubtedly a hero of faith, and his story still speaks to us today, thousands of years after his death. Furthermore, Abel's story teaches us about the need to care for our brothers and sisters. Cain's question to God after Abel's murder, "Am I my brother's keeper?" resonates to this day as a reminder of our responsibility toward others. While Cain's answer is rhetorical and evasive, the implicit response in the biblical narrative and Christian tradition is a resounding yes. Indeed, we are responsible for our brothers and sisters. Throughout the centuries, the Christian tradition has interpreted Abel and Cain's story in various ways. Some see it as a warning against jealousy and envy, which can lead to acts of violence and destruction. Others view it as a lesson about the need to offer God our best, rather than just what is convenient or easy. Still, others see it as a call to care for our brothers and sisters, especially when they are in need or danger. In any interpretation, Abel's story remains a powerful testimony to the need for faith, justice, and caring for others. As such, he deserves to be included in the list of heroes of faith mentioned in Hebrews 11, and his example deserves to be followed by all of us. Therefore, Abel's account is not merely a historical narrative but a timeless call to reflection and action. Abel's response to God's call demonstrates a living faith that is manifested not just in words but in actions. His example challenges us to examine the quality of our own sacrifices and the state of our faith. Abel, though briefly mentioned in the Bible, is a complex and instructive figure. He is simultaneously a victim and a hero, innocent and exemplary. His story highlights the reality of injustice in this world, where the righteous are not always rewarded and the wicked are not always immediately punished. But it also underscores the reality of a just God who sees and honors the faith of his children, even when the world does not. Furthermore, Abel's story serves as a somber reminder of the consequences of sin. Cain's anger, fueled by jealousy and dissatisfaction, led him to commit the first murder in human history. This reminds us of the need to guard our hearts and minds and to seek God for help and healing when confronted with negative emotions. Lastly, Abel's life and death point to the need for redemption. Abel's blood, spilled on the ground, cries out for justice but also points to the need for a greater and more effective sacrifice. This need would ultimately be fulfilled in the person of Jesus Christ, whose blood shed on the cross would bring redemption and reconciliation to all who place their faith in him. In conclusion, Abel's story is one of faith, justice, sin, and redemption. Despite his short life and the tragedy that marked it, his legacy endures as a testament to the power of faith and the need for redemption. He truly is a hero of faith, whose example deserves to be remembered and followed. Abel's legacy, recorded in the Bible, serves as a powerful reminder for all of us today. It shows that actions fueled by true faith are recognized and honored by God, even if they are not valued or understood by others. Moreover, it reminds us that our faith is most deeply demonstrated not only by the things we profess to believe, but by the actions we undertake and the sacrifices we are willing to make. Abel's story encourages us to live lives of integrity and faith, even when confronted with injustice and adversity. It invites us to consider the lasting impact of our actions and to live in a way that honors God and serves as a positive testimony to others. After all, Abel's story is not just the story of one man but an invitation to all of us to live lives of faith, sacrifice, and integrity. Therefore, as we reflect on Abel's life and his place in the gallery of heroes of faith, we are called to a response. A response that is not only intellectual but practical. A response that is reflected not just in our words but in our actions.